What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success. And what I'm going to share with you in this video is literally the most important piece of information I've ever learned about business. It's also one of the most easiest things to understand that the fewest amount of people really know. Like, I can almost guarantee that what I'm going to share with you in this video, your friends don't know, your family doesn't really understand, all of the people around you that you're surrounded by don't really understand this. And yet, if you understand this as a business owner, it will be such a massive advantage for you in growing a successful business and achieving the success that you're looking for. So I can't wait to share it with you. Here it is. Apparel Success is sponsored by my buds over at Design Crowd. And if designs are something that you struggle with, I really recommend that you try them out. These are some of the best-selling designs on my website, and I got them all made through Design Crowd. If you're interested, head over to designcrowd.com/apparel to learn about the special offer that I have for you, or just use the discount code APPAREL when you post a project on Design Crowd. All right, so I'm about to go on a rant here, and I really hope that you just stick around until the end, because the underlying message of this video and the wisdom that you're about to gain, the understanding that you're about to gain about business is literally the most powerful thing that I've ever learned. And like I said at the beginning of this video, it's something that I've found basically is non-existent in most of the people in my network. People that are also pretty smart that just don't understand this on the level that they need to in order to really get results in business. So I can't wait to share it with you, but just hang in there while I try and get through this. Something that's very common amongst people who have never started up a business and they don't have any experience in entrepreneurship is that almost all of them, friends and family, people that you know that have just never had the firsthand experience in this world, is that they don't really understand how difficult it is to grow and operate a business. And one thing that almost all of them believe is that successful business owners, people who create successful businesses, it's like they came up with the right idea and all you needed was the idea in order to be successful. It's like if you could just come up with that right idea that's tapping into a market that's never been tapped into, that's all you need, and you'll just be like a multimillionaire and you'll have that successful business. And hopefully something that you already know already, and I'm assuming if you watch my videos, you're intellectual enough to already understand that that's not the case, and you've probably figured this out through firsthand experience, is that that's not it at all. The idea is a very small component in all of it, and the success of your business depends mainly on your ability to execute. And the execution of that is the most difficult thing. Now, I've literally been warming you up to get to the meat and potatoes of this video, which is right about to happen, where I want to talk to you about the importance of barriers to entry in business and understanding what barriers to entry are and how they're affecting your ability to grow your brand and become a successful business. What barriers to entry are is they're factors that impede or prevent newcomers into a market. And these barriers to entry are naturally built due to competition in the marketplace. So companies becoming bigger and better than other companies creates this natural hill that other companies have to climb in order to compete with them. And these barriers to entry are something that exist, they're very real, and you have to understand what the barriers to entry are inside of something like a clothing brand and the fashion industry in order to really be successful and understand how you're going to get to the point where your business is offering enough value to your customer that people are going to be willing to buy. Because it's not like you can just start up a business just off the top of your head, put it out there without really achieving any sort of above average or advantageous standpoint for your clothing brand, where you've achieved something inside of your brand that makes it difficult for others to compete against you. And I want to talk to you really clearly here about what those barriers to entry are in the fashion industry for trying to grow a clothing brand, because by understanding this, it's really going to help you know what you have to do here in order to get your brand to the point where sales will come easy for you. And that I literally can't think of anything more important for you to understand. All right, so obviously in this space, there are clothing brands popping up every single day, and the competition is very, very high. There are clothing brands popping up literally every single day. And one thing that I really want you to understand here is that almost all of these clothing brands that are popping up are doing the same things to market their brand. They're trying the same marketing strategies, they're thinking the same way, and they're just doing the same things. And all these brands are clumping together. So in order for your brand to be one of the few that actually does this and makes it work, where you're getting a significant amount of sales coming in, you're going to have to think differently, behave differently, and have a different level of understanding around these things in order to get better results than the average person. And that's a barrier to entry in and of itself. And one of the most easily understood barriers to entry for a successful clothing brand is literally just customer loyalty. And in order for you to get customer loyalty and to build brand history, which is one of the most powerful things that a brand can have, literally the barrier to entry for this is just time. So if you invest 5 or 10 years into your brand, which so few clothing brand owners are truly willing to do, this is like a natural screening process that's taking place in the market to filter out business owners and clothing brands that really don't take this seriously, that really don't want to do it, from those who will actually go on to become successful. This is why preaching things like being patient, taking your time, building your brand customer by customer, and going through the seasons to build your brand is truly valuable. It's because you're overcoming this barrier to entry, which is building customer loyalty, building a brand history, actually building value into your brand over time. And as you build that customer list, as you build sort of this impact in the market that can literally, it just has to take time in order for you to do that. Any other new coming brand into the market is going to have to go through that same process. And you've sort of created this issue for them where in order for them to compete with you, in order for them to get onto your level, they're going to have to sacrifice the same amount of time that you did. And obviously it's not just time here, it's also then what you're doing with your time as you've been growing your brand. Like another huge barrier to entry that I've created within my own clothing brand is getting my clothing brand worn by dozens of celebrities and influencers within my niche. In order for any other brand to come into my space and want to compete on that level, they're going to have to do some pretty good networking to get onto the celebrities and influencers that I've got onto and had my clothing brand worn by. So in order for them to achieve the same level of credibility that my brand's achieved, they're literally going to have to go through the same fire of spending all this time learning how to network, doing it in a way that's actually offering value, creating a brand that these celebrities and influencers actually want to support, landing pictures of them wearing it, and all of that is really creating a separation and a differentiation between my brand and the others that are trying to pop up within my niche. Now, the key thing here to understand, and this is where I believe entrepreneurs can truly just become powerhouses that are different from everybody around them and have almost like a sixth sense when it comes to viewing business and understanding how to create a successful business in any industry as a serial entrepreneur, is having this intuitive sense towards barrier to entries in every single possible economic situation. Like even on my YouTube channel, building a YouTube channel up to 70,000 subscribers took me 4.5 years. For anybody to compete with me in this space, they're going to have to invest the same amount of time. They're going to have as much experience as I do talking into this camera and being able to articulate these ideas after years of practicing this and doing this over and over again. And all of that time that I've invested has developed into skills. And I've created this audience that is not that easy to achieve. And all of this is now creating a separation between me and somebody who's just starting up a YouTube channel tomorrow. They're going to have to go through that same fire. Another way to look at this in another industry that's completely different, sort of outside the box, is let's say you want to become a doctor. Well, it's not like you can just decide I want to be a doctor and now you're a doctor. You have to go through 9 years of school in order to become a doctor. And that's a barrier to entry to becoming a doctor. you wouldn't want your surgeon to just decide one day that, he was maybe a video gamer and he just said, well, I'm going to be a surgeon one day. There's a reason why you have to go through these barriers of entry to achieve what you have to get at the end of the path. And this can also be frustrating. I mean, you hear a lot of people complaining about how much they're compensated at work in terms of their paychecks. And, a lot of it is people just complaining, thinking that they're worth more than they're worth. But are they really offering their company any more value than what they're currently being paid? Like, most of the time you're compensated in direct proportion to the value that you're offering. So if you want to be paid more, you should probably learn new skills, learn about how you can offer the company more value and become more economically valuable. And what economics really is at the end of the day is it's understanding this world of limited resources and how you can become that really scarce resource, and create that really scarce resource that people really desire because it's hard to achieve. And one of the reasons why I think that this is so hard for most people to grasp is because it's kind of a harsh reality. And what I'm telling you is that there's a path in front of you and that you have to achieve things along this path. And if you don't achieve anything along this path, if you don't get creative in your problem solving, really work through all of this, you're probably not going to achieve any good results. It's just the truth, because that's just the way that the world works. So, it doesn't matter how you go about creating differentiators inside of your clothing brand and standing out. What matters is that you're thinking about this and you have the understanding. And when you have that understanding, you'll recognize that until you do something about it, until you actually really make this happen inside of your clothing brand somehow, whether that's through getting onto specific celebrities and influencers that are hard to achieve, by just sticking with it through more years than your competition and being more persistent, whatever it is that you do, maybe getting into a news article that's hard to get into, getting it onto a TV show that's hard to get onto, just networking more than most people network, standing out, being in that 99th percentile of person where of 100 people in a room, you're like the one person who's the hardest working in that room and the smartest. That's what's going to allow you to become successful. And that is something that nobody really understands. So now you do, and hopefully you can apply it to your business and hopefully you can get better results. If you got a lot of value out of this, hit the like button for me. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. And if you haven't already, check out my free clothing brand marketing masterclass. All you have to do to get access is go to apparelsuccess.com/masterclass. You can watch the whole thing for free. And if you made it to this point in the video, I want to tell you about the closed Facebook group that we have for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description. Follow that link, join us in the group, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.